You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live. We're broadcasting from the Natural Green Lawn and Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. Before we get back into our last story here, I want to just let our listeners know here that we have a great resource available to you. It's a bi-monthly newsletter called What's New. A lot of what we cover on the radio show, we cover in further detail. And a lot of the people that you'll hear on the show also are contributors. It's yours free for the asking. Give us a call during the week at New Concepts at 952-922-2500. Ask for Lori, and she'll make sure that you start receiving that free subscription either electronically or by mail. The story we were talking about before we went to break is in the state of Washington, the Court of Appeals is coming up with an unpublished opinion concerning the authority an association has on repair versus capital improvements. Is there a big deal? Is there a big difference between the two? Right before break, I was asking the question, do you determine what the difference is between just doing a simple repair versus a capital improvement at the property? Is that based simply on the matter of cost? You know, most people think of capital improvements as big buck items, like the replacement of roofs, so maybe that's what defines the two. Others will say, no, it could be the matter of installing something that wasn't there before. And is that what determines the two? Well, it's interesting if you take a look at the analysis that the court went through in their ruling here of what is a repair versus what is a capital improvement. I think it's very noteworthy. The court pointed out that in the Homeowners Association, the declaration contains a specific section saying that the board of directors has the authority to acquire goods and services for the proper functioning of the condominium, including repair of the units if necessary, if in the board's discretion to protect the common area or preserve the appearance and the value of the building itself. And so the reason this was a big issue is in this homeowners association in Washington, homeowners were upset because there was a $2 million special assessment. That special assessment was on something that was called a rain screen. And if what was happening is in these homes, in this condominium association, water was getting behind the siding. And instead of it wicking away and out, it was going into the building. It was soaking up and it was doing further damage to the other materials in people's homes. It was getting into sheetrock and insulation. It was beginning to rot wood. There were concerns of mold. And so the association said, you know what? According to the definition here, we think we have the authority because we are authorized with the ability to take care of items that, if not to act, would diminish the value of the condominium, that would be protecting the common area and protecting homeowners from further damage and from injury. But there are people that were upset. They said, well, wait a minute. No, if you're dealing with a capital improvement, something that wasn't there before, because clearly this rain screen was not there before. This is something that was added. If you're adding something brand new to the property, other homeowners were saying, that's brand new. You need to talk to the homeowners to get approval before moving ahead. And so that's why this whole court issue took place. But you know what? That is really the issue that we deal with all the time, is it not? In Congress as well, we've got our congressmen and senators, and they have the ability to tax us. But they have, according to the Constitution, the ability to do so for determining what is the common good of the people. And so we're taxed because the common good is at stake. And people are saying, is this for the common good or is this excess? Homeowners in an association have the same thing. They deal with their board of directors, and the assessment is nothing more than a tax, is it not? And so they're saying, well, wait a minute. You can tax us for things that are necessary, but not for things that are being added that weren't there before. And so that's why there was this big hullabaloo and this lawsuit that took place, because other homeowners were saying, no, you're not repairing something. You are adding something that wasn't there. And so it's a very interesting case here. It looks like to me that the association board went through with something that I would say, in my, I guess from my perspective here, looks like it was a necessary thing. Yes, indeed, this was something that was never at the property before, so it wasn't a repair, so to speak. This was an addition of something, a rain screen. But this was a building envelope system to help wick away the water so that people wouldn't continue to have the degradation of their homes and sheetrock and insulation and wood and dealing with mold issues. It seems like if there had been anything that probably could have taken place here, it might have been perhaps the association could have taken a little bit more time, the board I'm talking about here, in bringing up the issues to the homeowners and letting them know that this is necessary and why it's necessary. A lot of times, even though, as we've talked about so many times on this show, the board of directors, they have the authority to move ahead and obligate the association and its owners to a number of goods and services. Even though you've got that right, you've got that authority, you still need to make sure that you are taking some time to inform the homeowners. And people don't like to just be told what they are going to do. People like to have a chance, the feeling that they've been consulted with, and gives them the chance to buy in. And if boards would just take a little bit more time to do that, you might be dealing with a lot less issues. Well, let's deal with our next story here. This one, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, is interesting. The Occupy Wall Street movement is up and at it again. We haven't heard from them for quite some time. About a year ago, that's about all that we heard on the front pages of news, on the radio, on the TV, and the Occupy Wall Street movement in New York. People have come together and they've said, we have come up with a way to have your debt forgiven. Those of you that are underwater with your mortgages, those of you that owe a lot of money, we have a way of getting all of this removed. Sounds very interesting. This is taken from Time Magazine from November 12th. It was in the business and money section. And it says, the people's bailout. Occupy Wall Street wants to forgive your debt. Now, everybody knows that during the height of the financial crisis, the federal government pulled out all the stops to ensure the survival of the nation's largest financial institutions. We saw that take place. Along the way, shareholders, creditors of big Wall Street firms were bailed out. They were saved from losses that they deserved for making some very poor investment decisions. The idea from government was you've got entities that are, quote, too big to fail. We've all heard that many, many times, haven't we? This bank is too big to fail. This institution is too big to fail. Well, the person in this article for Time Magazine said since that time, he's making the statement, much of America has been clamoring for the same attention. Do you agree with that? Do you think much of America is now standing towards and looking to their federal government saying, hey, there was a major handout to the bigwigs. Where's my handout? Where's my payday? Is that something that most Americans are thinking? According to the person who wrote this article, he thought perhaps that is what's taking place. I tell you what, we need to take a break. Don't go away. We've got one last segment where we're going to deal with this issue. Are Americans just asking for their handout? Does the Occupy Wall Street movement, do they have a way that will help forgive debt for many Americans? We'll see and investigate this after these messages.